Hi everyone, I am recording my presentation since I can't be there Thursday evening. I'm hoping this works out. So what I'm going to do is just walk through the slideshow and talk about face negotiation theory. And here we go. Okay, so I had face negotiation theory by Stella Ting Toomey. She was a communication professor at California State University of Fullerton. The face negotiation theory helps explain cultural differences in responses to conflict. Ting Toomey bases her theory on the distinction between collectivism and individualism. So these different types of cultures. Face is a metaphor for our public self-image, the way we want others to see and treat us. We've seen similar things to what she refers to and some theorists refer to as face in some of our other theories. She assumes that people of every culture are always negotiating face. One important term is face work, the specific verbal and nonverbal messages that help to maintain and restore face loss and to uphold and honor face. And her whole point is that the way that people approach conflict varies between cultures. So more important terms, she talks about the independent versus the interdependent self. These also have to do with whether or not you belong to an individualistic culture or a collectivist culture. Other important terms are self-construal, which is the degree to which people conceive of themselves as relatively autonomous from or connected to others. Face concern is the regard for self-face, other face, or mutual face. Face restoration is used to preserve autonomy and defend against loss of personal freedom. And face giving is the strategy used to defend and support another person's need for inclusion. So as you can see, a lot of these terms are intertwinable. It's kind of hard to separate them, but if you refer to the pages in the book, there are a lot of diagrams around page, I believe, 411, where you can see how these things kind of overlap and tie in together across the two different types of culture that she focuses on, or she says that all cultures fall into these categories, the individualism and collectivism. So obviously, face can be used in different ways, but her theory obviously has to do with conflict management. So she notes 5 types of conflict management, and then she goes on to list 3 more types of conflict management. And I just want to make sure. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed a slide back there. My clicker went too far. So going back, so I just talked about these terms. The slide before goes a little more into detail. Ting Toomey's grouping of natural culture within these categories separates her theory of conflict management from just a listing of national characteristics. And this kind of made me think of also, she doesn't just go with the stereotypical things that we perceive about cultures. So a collectivism culture, you are often loyal to your group affiliations. And even within, she says that most United States citizens do adhere to individualism. We can still be in those gray areas of when you identify as a Christian, as a father or a teacher or any other type of sect within your culture. But she does say that most in Japan, for example, and other Asian cultures do adhere to collectivism for the most part. They adhere to the we identity, and often the way they react to conflict is norm controlled. And again, talking about the subcultures and the gray areas. There are gray areas. Individualism is mostly concerned about personal interests, or again, like you're mostly concerned about the interests of your immediate family, not maybe so much the interest of the group that you're involved with, or so much having to do with maybe if you're in a religious group. She says that basically Americans adhere to the individualism, and we, again, that's those independent affiliations. So although we are individual, we kind of sway different ways, for example, to maybe religious, sports, your career, those type of affiliations, or maybe political beliefs. And she says this has to do with the I identity, which is governed by personal rules of the freewheeling self. Okay, so the different types of conflict management, we either avoid, oblige, compromise, go towards domination, or integration. So we're solving problems through logical discussion. And then there's emotional expression, where disclosure or venting of feelings takes place, passive aggressive, indirect accusation, resentment, procrastination or thwarting of resolution, and then third party help, use of a mediator or elder. Okay, so I defined face negotiation theory is based on face management, which describes how people from different cultures manage conflict negotiation to save face. So again, if you refer to your textbook, there are some very nice flow charts that, and I couldn't find any to duplicate that really duplicate the ones in the text on the internet that I could place in my slideshow. So I would just recommend taking a look at those if you want more of an idea of how the different types of culture typically deal with conflict. I think common sense, if you go back and think about if you're an individualist, a lot of the time you're going to fall into certain types of conflict management. And, depending on what your affiliations are or your belief systems, also you might fall into certain types. So although it is a type of study you can't really measure with numbers, it was criticized as being fairly, it stands the test that she presents, and it is considered a viable theory when it comes to saving face based on your cultural differences. So I hope this presentation worked out. And again, I'm sorry I couldn't be there this evening. I'm just still recovering from a little procedure I had. But if you have any questions about this, please feel free to email me and I will answer any questions you might have. Thanks. Bye.